being Mother's Day, I wore a rose this morning on my lapel. And I heard that, if your mother's living, you wear a red rose. If your mother is passed, you wear a white rose. And so my mother's still alive. She's back home in Ashland, Kentucky. And so I wear this red rose to remember her this morning. And I didn't get to see her this past week when I went home for a doctor's appointment. I got to stay with them a couple of days. And they come down to visit us at Easter time. And I'll tell this story on her because it was just too funny. She was, Paul Clark makes, he grows hot peppers. Where's Paul? There's Paul. So, and he grows these really hot peppers. And he brought some of it, I guess like a salsa type stuff to me. He said, you got to try this. I love hot stuff. And so I had some and I knew it was hot. And I loved it though. I absolutely love it. I still got just a little bit of it left. And so when she came in, my mom likes hot stuff. And I said, Mom, you got to try some of this sauce that Paul made. I said, he's one of my deacons and he grows in hot peppers. Oh, okay. So it's hot. I said, yeah, it's hot. And I got her a spoonful of it. I said, before I could get out what kind of peppers it was and how hot it was, she took the whole spoonful ball, put it in her mouth and ate it. Okay. And at first she was like, oh, it's pretty good. And then about 5 seconds later, she was, oh, it's hot. Yeah, those are made with the hottest peppers in the world, Mom. What? And all of her face, it was like watching a cartoon. It went from red, from neck up. You could just see that. It's like, I need something to drink. Give me some water. I said, no, you don't want water. Water makes it worse. And so she was getting milk, and she was pouring milk, and she was just chugging the milk down. And then, Brad, give me bread. And me and my dad were just cracking up. And my dad said, well, that's what you get for being so piggish. You should have waited until I explained it all. My dad, now he's the exact opposite. He can't even stand black pepper, much less any kind of hot pepper. So he can't stand any kind of spices. So he was just dying. He was dying the last one. So, but I remember I wore this rose in her remembrance this morning, and so she, I know she'll be watching this later, and so just wants to happy Mother's Day to my mom this morning. Okay, if you'll turn with me to the book of James this morning. Not really a Mother's Day message this morning. But that's okay, because this is the message that God's laid on my heart, and we continue forward with our Walking Tall series. I have said before, and I will probably continue to say while we're in the book of James, that James is a hardcore kind of guy. He will hit you hard. And I know last week there were several people talking about how James really stepped on their toes. Well, he's going to do it again today too, I'm afraid. So, he talks about favoritism in James chapter 1, or James chapter 2. And at first, when I first started reading, well, I'm good at this because I don't show favoritism or partiality. No way. Until God started speaking and showing me that there is some ways that you've been showing you do favoritism. And so it really spoke to me as well. And so James, in James chapter 2, he's speaking, he says, my brethren, do not hold the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with partiality. For if there should come into your assembly a man with gold rings and fine apparel, and there should also come in a poor man in filthy clothes, and you pay attention to the one wearing the fine clothes and say to him, you sit here in a good place, and say to the poor man, you stand there, or sit here at my footstool. Have you not shown partiality among yourselves and become judges with evil thoughts? Listen, my beloved brethren. Has God not chosen the poor of this world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom, which he promised to those who have loved him? But you have dishonored the poor man. Do not the rich oppress you and drag you into the courts? Do they not blaspheme the noble name by which you are called? If you really fulfill the royal law according to Scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin, and convicted by the law as a transgressor. For whoever shall keep the whole law and yet stumble on one point, he is guilty of all. For he who said, do not commit adultery, also said, do not murder. Now, if you do not commit adultery, but you do murder, you become a transgressor of the law. So speak and do as those who will be judged by the law of liberty. For judgment is without mercy to the one who shows no mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. Let's bow our heads and have prayer this morning. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you, Lord, as we come together once again and as we come to worship you. God, I know that James speaks to all of us. It's amazing to me, God, how he wrote to mostly a group of Jewish men and women who were new to the faith 2,000 years ago. And how he was writing to them, and yet it is as clear as if he was writing to America today. God, I pray, Lord, that you'll open our eyes. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord, that we can see you. Open our eyes that we see you, Lord, and that we can see what you see and what James was seeing here in James chapter 2. God, as this end again, I pray, God, that you let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart, be acceptable in your sight. Oh God, you are my strength, you are my redeemer. And all God's people said, amen. It's my favorite. We'll have favoritism. I have a favorite sport. I have a favorite team. You go in my office, you'll see a big UK tree sitting on my desk. I'm a big UK fan. I do not like the University of Louisville. I will never like the University of Louisville. And anytime UK plays U of L, I will be cheering very hardly for the University of Kentucky. That's my favorite. I have a favorite place to go eat at. I have a favorite TV show I like to watch. I have favorites in a lot of things. Just like you do. You have a favorite program to watch on TV. It's coming around that time of year where season finales are happening, and you got the DVR set, or you got to make sure you're sitting there at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever time it is, that show comes on. Because you have to see how the season ends. It's your favorite. You've got to see what happens. If you watch sports, you have a favorite sports team. I know in this area, I'm in the minority when it comes to baseball, and there's a lot of St. Louis Cardinal fans. I can't blame you, they're a good team. But I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan. And I sit there, I watch them, we're die-hard Reds fans. It's my favorite. However, when it comes to the assembly of God, when it comes to spiritualists, we are not to have favorites. And James even says it's a sin. Did you know it was a sin to have a favorite when it comes to spiritual things? When it comes to the assembly of God, it's a sin to have favorites. And James was writing, both, as I said in my prayer, this is mostly a Jewish church. They were new to the things. They were new. They were just learning about. And James was like, you guys got to learn here. You're new. You're new at this. But you can't have partiality by who walks in that door. Now, we're not new to this. 2,000 years later, churches are still showing favoritism and partiality towards who walks in the front door. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's not just the people. We're talking about other things that we show partiality to. What was amazing to James was that, a little bit different for them, was that he said, you have partiality towards men who are rich. These are the same men who are, by the way, oppressing you. And yet they come walking in the door and you give them the best seat in the house. You say, oh, sit here. And yet, someone who's just like you might be poor, might be struggling. You tell them to go stand in the corner or go sit at your footstool so you keep an eye on them because you don't trust them. Because it's a sin. And he was warning them, you got to stop this. Quit doing this. It seems like a lot of churches, and most churches I've been in, there's usually someone in that area that's kind of really rich or is not kind of, maybe really is well off. That when he walks through the doors of the church, it's like everybody just, oh, it's so-and-so, and they get all excited about it. Now, I'll be honest and say, I I tried not to let that affect me in church when at this one church I was at. But one time I was at a football game. Lisa remembers we were sitting there at the football game, and this dude, he was a local community man, very well respected, mostly because of what he owned and the money that he had made. That night, the football team was actually paying respects to him because he had paid for a scoreboard at the football field. And I remember we were sitting there, we were at our regular seats. Him and his wife sitting there right below us. And I remember looking at Lisa and go, look who's sitting beside of us. And I got excited about it. And as I was preparing this message, the guy was like, why did you get so excited about that, by the way? It was because he's like, well, why did you get excited about it? Did he pay you any? Well, yeah, he talked to me. We show partiality to people, don't we? And even today, 2,000 years later, if someone is, and it's not going to happen, I mentioned this Wednesday night, it's not going to happen, but if it did, if John Calipari can walk in that front door right now, the service would stop, would it not? Men would turn around, and I'll be the first one. I would stop, I'd be like, there would be people that would come to this church just to say, I went to the church that John Calipari went to. I promise you. There are people who go to places where celebrities are being just so, I ate where so-and-so ate at. Go to Memphis, Tennessee, which isn't too far from here. People go to Graceland. Is Elvis there anymore? No. But he used to live there. And people by the millions go there every year to say, I was where Elvis lived at. We ain't living there no more. If you want to see where he lives at, he's in a grave. But people will still visit it, won't they? Because it's where they were at. People will come to if John Calipari walked that door now, there will be people who would come here next Sunday to say, I went to the church where John Calipari went. And that's fine. Matter of fact, I would invite John Calipari. If he sees this, I invite him to come here. And I was like, you sit here, and you can and I'll tell Lisa, yeah, move, sit there. You laugh, but I'm serious. But I don't want to be known as a church where a celebrity came in. I want us to be known as a church where John Doe came in. And he was welcome just as much as John Calipari. I want to be known as a church, not where some celebrity walked through, but where Jesus Christ walks every day. That's what I want to be known for. That's what I want to be known as somebody that Jesus walks with every day. I don't want to be known as somebody who met a celebrity. I have a really good friend. He goes to conventions all the time. He's met, I don't know how many celebrities he's met. And he always just kind of flabbergasted with his stories, how he meets them, and how good they are, and how nice they are. But I want to be known as the person who meets with Jesus Christ every day. And that's what I want you to be known as people who walk with Jesus Christ every day, who meet with him every day, not just once in a while at a church or at a convention hall somewhere. I want you to be known as someone who is with him every single day. Now, James talks about there was partiality among people. Certain ones walking through. But there's other partiality that we make also. We make favoritism towards certain sins, don't we? What? We don't do that, do we? Yeah. I'll give you an example. James talks about, and he mentions, for example, he mentions adultery. I guess adultery is just as big then as it is today. Because he says, we have adultery, we have murder. You can say, I don't commit adultery, but if you murder, guess what? You broke you sinned. That's all sins are sins. You're a sinner. And James was saying, quit doing this. Quit saying, but I'm good here. No, you're rotten. We're all rotten. We're all sinners. We're all in Christ. But even still, 2,000 years later, we have favoritism and partiality towards certain sins. If, for example, if someone we know commits adultery, I have actually heard it said before by people who I would say were Christians or believers. Well, did you see? I mean, at least did you see the woman he committed adultery with? What? Does that? And they would say things like that. However, you can mention about a homosexual relationship, and those talk about that being just awful. As far as God's concerned, it's all sin. Sin is sin. Quit making favoritism towards it. I remember a few years ago, you all remember when it came out that Shania Twain was getting divorced? Everybody talked about it. It was just, scandal. It was all over you go to the grocery store, it was all over those Choirs, Stars, whatever magazines are in the front. And they were talking about, the big divorce. They were talking about, and I remember being in the church office one day, and a woman come in and she said, well, I just go to show you, if Shania can't keep a man, nobody can. And I kind of agree. Like, she is, she's gorgeous. And someone else said, but you don't know what she would be. So basically, we were saying that if someone would cheat on her because of the way she looks, it's, how could you? But you could cheat on her if she looked ugly? What? But we've done that, haven't we? We've said things like that before. And I admit, I was like, yeah, that's crazy. It's just, we show favoritism and partiality towards sins. You can tell a little white lie. I mean, that's okay. Just don't tell a big black lie, Richard. A little white lie, that's okay. Little white lies are little lies that, keep you from getting in trouble. They're not big things, like when your wife says, how do I look in this dress? You say, you look great. And she may look awful at it, but you're not going to get in trouble, so you look great. Now, I knew a guy one time who said his wife did that to him. She said, honey, does this dress make me look fat? And he went, well, the dress makes you look fat. Well, you didn't say that. He said, yep, I did. What did she do? He said, I don't remember. He was just kind of a rotten kind of guy. He would just do things like that. But little white lies, it's okay. Just don't tell them big black ones. It's a lie. A lie is a lie. Sin is sin. We've got to quit showing partiality. And in fact, James talks about that. He goes, we talk about adultery, murder. You will say you didn't commit adultery, but you murdered. You've sinned. You're a sinner. It's all sin. You have transgressed against the law. You are a sinner. And you need forgiveness. And then he talks about mercy. You know what strikes me odd? It's our mercy that we would give. It ends ugly sins. Sins that we think are ugly. See, some of us would say adultery, ugly sin. We wouldn't give mercy to someone in that case, would we? Mercy to someone who's a murderer? They deserve what they get. You know what Jesus says? Mercy is for everybody. His mercy doesn't end at ugly sins. Because of Jesus, you know what ugly sin is? All sin. All sins are ugly. You could pretty him up and say, it's just a little white lie, or just a little thing I stole, it wasn't a big thing, and it's okay because it's a sin. Quit trying to fool yourself. Remember when we talked about James last week, and he said that it's like a man walks in front of a mirror and he looks for himself for a second, then he walks off and forgets. We kind of do the same thing with mercy. We forget who we were at one time. We forget how we needed mercy. And we walked up and we've forgotten about it. I was a young boy when I got saved. I was 11 years old. And so I could say, I hadn't committed a lot of sins, but guess what? I sinned. And it was ugly. Even the little lies I told my mom. So sin. Here's the thing about sin. No one has to teach you how to do it, do they? I never had to be trained on how to lie. No one ever set me down and said, David, now this is what you got to do to lie. Keep from getting in trouble. First time I ever told a lie, I'm sure it was probably over something really stupid, and probably asked if I had done something. Yeah, I did it, and I didn't do it. So I get a reward. See, no one taught me. It's like I'm born with that ability. It's like I'm born with the ability just to lie. I'm born with the ability to hate. No one had to teach me how to hate. Someone just does me wrong and I get mad and I just don't like them. When I was a little kid, if I got bullied, I hated that person. No one had to teach me. Born with that. You know what I had to be taught? Mercy, forgiveness, grace. See, even at 11 years old, I had seen it. There's a song by Bill Gaither he wrote several years ago. The Sinner Saved by Grace. It goes, if you could see what I once was, if you could go with me back to where I started from, I know that you would see the miracle of love that took me in its sweet embrace. It made me what I am today, a sinner saved by grace. We forget what mercy and grace is. As we progress, we tend to forget those things. Do not forget your mercy and quit giving it to those who you favor. You should be giving it to everybody. Because Jesus gives mercy and grace to everybody. Not just a select few. Not just the ones who sin pretty. Not just the ones who do things okay. He gives it to everybody. I had the opportunity to work in jail ministry before. It was a blessing to go in and be baptized. And I would come in, one of the ladies who worked in the jail ministry there, she would call me and say, I've got so many women that need to be baptized. Can you come in? And you know, it didn't matter what I had going on that day. Me and Lisa would go and we would schedule so we could make sure we get there. 15, 20 women lined up to be baptized. Mercy shown from the least to the greatest, right? And I don't tell you this because I'm bragging on myself, or I'm bragging on the Lord. Because the Lord gave me grace and mercy. He still does, because I still mess up. Now, I know you don't think that. I know you think that I don't never mess up, I never make mistakes. You can talk to Lisa. She'd tell you a few stories. You'll see me in a different light then. So by all means, don't ask her. But it's something we have to be taught. You know, even when we first get saved, and we're so excited, we have to learn through Christ what it is to give grace and mercy and forgiveness to others, don't we? Because we're younglings. We're babes in Christ. It'd be a Mother's Day, I will say this. I learned a lot of things from my mom. She taught me a lot of things. She was the one who taught me the ABCs, you know, when you're little, and stay at home, and you get them books out. Of course, I had those books by record. you sit there and play the record, and you would turn the page, and you hear the chime, and you would do that. And so I had a lot of those. I would turn, and so she would get those books for me and go over with me every day. And I learned the alphabet that way. I started learning those songs that way. A lot of things that she taught me. But mercy and grace and forgiveness, even though I saw my mom do that with a lot of people, I seen her do that through a lot of people. You know why? Because God had taught her. God had taught her, so she taught me. And God taught me and showed me things also. That's how we learn. But we can't show favoritism. James says it is a sin. Partiality is a sin. He says, if you really fulfill the royal law according to the Scriptures, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin. Who would have thought that just showing favoritism towards somebody, just being partial to one thing or the other, is a sin? Now, we're not talking about your TV shows. We're not talking about your restaurants. We're not talking about your sports teams. We're talking about towards those, we're talking spirituality. We're talking spiritual things. When you show favoritism in that, James says, you have sinned. You have committed a transgression. You are convicted by the law as transgressors or as sinners. It is a sin. So stop it. Now, it's amazing that like I said, he wrote that 2,000 years ago, and this was a group of people didn't really know. I mean, they were new. Jesus hadn't been gone that long. And so they were kind of new to all this. It was, they're being taught. 2,000 years later, we're still having to be taught this. We haven't learned this lesson yet, have we? It's like James is writing to America. Now, I say America because I know America better than I know any other country. But I'm pretty sure that this could go to any place in the world today still. Stop it. That's what he's saying to us. Stop it. Whatever your mom told you to stop it. Sometimes she used that little voice like, "Do you stop?" You didn't do it usually, did you? I just keep doing it. Or you did try a little sneaky. You remember when you used to be a kid, right? You remember how sneaky you used to be? She ain't watching and you do it again. However, when she got that mom voice out, you know what the mom voice is, right? The mom voice. Stop it! It is kind of like, okay. James is getting his mom voice out here this morning. Stop it! Stop doing that. Lisa can still use the mom voice. I still get scared. She wasn't even my mom. She can use it out. I'm sorry. Our dog will stop. We have a basset head and he stops. He drops his head and looks at me. If we could hear the tone of James' voice, it would be, stop it! It's a sin. And we're bad. We're bad boys and girls, aren't we? James is saying, stop it. Stop showing your partiality. Now, as we wrap it up this morning, first of all, as believers who are here this morning, and this message is mostly to believers, because James is writing to believers. He's writing to a group of believers who were sinning. As believers this morning, if you're here, maybe God showed you some areas that you've shown favoritism, partiality towards. Maybe it ain't towards certain people, maybe it's towards certain sins. Maybe it's that you don't give mercy and forgiveness, but to certain people. James is saying to us, you need to stop. All people. And by the way, he wasn't, when he was talking about the poor and the rich, he wasn't saying that the poor were better than the rich. He was saying, you know what? Poor, rich, we're all bad. Poor, rich, don't matter. I don't care how poor you are or rich you are. I don't care how good you think you are or how bad you are. I don't care if you're an inmate or if you're somebody who's never even seen the inside of, if you've never even seen a jail. Poor, rich, good, bad, we're all bad. We're all rotten to the core. We all need forgiveness. Then he says, quit showing favoritism towards certain sins. You grade them. Even 2,000 years ago, they graded sins. This ain't so bad. This is horrible. This ain't so bad. Oh, Jesus is all bad. Thirdly, quit grading who you give mercy to. It's hard to believe we do that with mercy. We will choose who we give mercy to. I remember when people were talking about, especially right after 9/11 happened, well, Osama bin Laden didn't get saved. Well, he could. Because God so loved the world, he didn't include, except for terrorists, did he? We don't like hearing that. But even the worst of the worst can be saved. Mercy and grace go to everybody. Now, if you are here this morning, you've never received that grace and mercy. I pray today that you will accept it. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what your past is like. I don't care. God forgives. You say, well, so-and-so doesn't like me. Well, so-and-so's in the wrong. So what James say? James said they're sinners. If they're looking down their nose on you, then guess what? They're the sinner. They're in the wrong, not you. You're in the wrong because you never accepted Christ as Savior. I ask you today, in fact, I beg you today, come to know the grace and mercy that Jesus Christ gives. Don't leave here without it. As Richard comes forward and as Beth comes forward to play Connie, with our heads bowed and eyes closed this morning, we're going to, as we wrap this up, dear Heavenly Father, this morning I pray, God, first of all, if there's anybody here that's never accepted you as Savior, God, they just don't know what they're missing. The world has told them that to believe in you is ludicrous, that it's ridiculous, that it's God, as a believer, as a follower of you, I know there's no other way. There's no better way to live. God, also I know that you forgive all. I've experienced your grace and mercy. I've seen your grace and mercy. I've seen you, God, forgive those who thought they were too low or they were too bad to be saved. I've seen you change their lives. God, I've seen you change the life of drug addicts, of alcoholics. I've seen you change the lives of people who did horrible sins. I've seen you change their lives because of your grace and mercy. God, I know there are some believers who don't give that grace and mercy like they should. They show favoritism, partiality towards certain ones. God, I pray this morning that we quit doing that. In fact, I believe James was taking a pretty harsh tone with us this morning. He was saying, stop doing it. It's all sin. And if you're doing it, you're committed sin. God, I just pray this morning that if there's any believer here that has been showing that partiality, that they can stop it now. They ask for forgiveness for it. And they move forward by showing grace and mercy to all. We ask